Pacho, good morning. Your family Ampofo. People call me Sakawa. Me be a 14 player. Mentuaba nko baby ya. Ana me mentuaba. Kennedy so obedina so be president me metuaba ama no. Nko e mama mo bre. Saa mo ho na mo de ne ba no. Enye de wa bre na e pe no. Yo obetimi ebu o man no. Kennedy me pacho adwuma do se no wo krom a. Bo me a wo sei. Alanka hwe wo sei. Pe Kennedy ni pado do otwi omuka. Ghana fo mpini fo mpene kure. Na Kennedy na me di munti ono obeba wa ma ye taxi drivers ya ntoaba ya oma ya ntoaba se Kennedy ya ma power ya taxi drivers ya ntoaba
eno waka no
ya adwuma wa bepo junction obi awe sanhye ma no
eno waka no
ya bufu sem nam de ka no papa ne gini di so obetimi aye no obeye so
ya ka mo me nka
no Kennedy no boto
minim papa da trotro drivers taxi drivers minim papa da
papa no fo me ka da mi ko sia no he ayi fa na minim no ba ne niema ane ne niema bi a wa ye nti eti na pese to abane de e ma no no Kennedy no good me Kennedy wan wini promise amendment to aba me wan no ni abepo junction taxi drivers association the company for no ho me ya chairman the company for no se Kennedy awe ni aye to aba
piao
obi aka bi an kire ye
piao
ya agene ye hu de papa no obetimi aye o my brain me di wotimi ye no
piao
no cross sama me ka enti no cross sama me ka enti no cross sama me ka enti madani mutafuana amu masikani bra eba ma bravo mu namu preni amu woso if you say radina kazaka ase oringa yani Nesu worry by it in the grass of my kaiti. Madame Mutamfuana, Mamu Mazikalibre, Mama Burabamu, Amu Premiamu also. If you say Radina Kazaka, I say, Origa Yani, Nesu worry by it in the grass of my kaiti. Madame Mutamfuana, Mamu Mazikalibre. Mama Brababu, I'm a pretty amour. If you say Radina Kazaka, I say, Oringa Yani, there's a worry by it. And in the grass of Mamika, Madame Mutamfuana, no cross of Mamika, no cross of Mamika. Look at some American, Madame Mutafuana, Amu Masikani, Eba Mabrabamu, Namu Premium also. If you say Radina Kazaka, I say, Oringa Yani, Nesu worry by it, it in the grass of Mamika. Madame Mutamfuana, Mamu Mazikalibre, Mama Burabamu, Amu Premiamu also. If you say Radina Kazaka, I say, Oringa Yani, there's a worry by it. It in the grass of Mamika, Madame Mutamfuana, Mamu Mazikalibre.
My guest this Sunday says what Ghana needs are thinkers, dreamers, and doers. Mr. Ken Ohene Agyapong, thank you for coming on Time with David.
Welcome.
You've been Member of Parliament for 7 years, thereabouts. As Member of Parliament, tell me, sir, do you feel that you have been in a position to add value in the real sense of a Member of Parliament's role?
In terms of national or district?
National.
Yes, I think so. When I became a parliamentarian, initially people felt I couldn't do it because of my time.
What do you mean because of your time?
My busy schedule in terms of business.
You're a businessman, as I realize.
Yes,
yeah.
But anything I set my mind on to do it, make sure I do it. So I concentrated on my parliamentary duties. And of course, one thing I realized, especially with the media, is that people were afraid to speak the truth. That's a change that I personally believe that I've made my mark there, because
Where, in Parliament?
yeah, in Parliament, everywhere, in public, I speak my mind like it is. I always want to speak the truth. I know it hurts, but I make sure I come out with facts and defend all issues. And
Because you do have a bit of reputation. It's funny, people tend to suggest that, it's an MP, but it can be critical of MPP policy. That's correct, eh?
yes, they say so because, sometimes I feel Ghana first, not my party. My party comes second. And again, I do so because, sometimes if you don't correct your own people or yourself, you become swollen-headed, and by the time you realize you've been voted out of power. So I always do that to draw the attention of my party, of the public perception out there, that they might think they'll be doing the right thing, but it doesn't go well with the public. So, and I always deal with the common people. So whatever comments they make, I pass it on by challenging issues. One thing I did that did not go well with my party was when I criticized the fuel increases. And I think initially they didn't understand. That time, Ghanaians were becoming agitated because we were increasing fuel prices based on world market. There were changes in prices, and of course it was going up all the time. So they wanted to adjust prices. But I said that even in America, where they practice capitalism to its climax, there are elements of socialism. I was there when Republican or Bush administration called all petroleum dealers to question them why they are making huge profits and still prices are going up. I mean, it shows concern. So when my party decided to increase, I think within 2 months, it had gone up for about 3 times.
You were concerned?
Yeah, I was
concerned. And you expressed it?
Yeah.
But they did nothing about it?
Oh, they did.
What did they do?
They did. When I criticized it, in fact, some of the ministers and MPs agreed with me, just that they didn't like the way I put it in public domain. But I think if I had not done that, they wouldn't have reduced it. That is how they got the petroleum levy. They reduced it because they wanted an area where they can reduce, the tax, so that the burden will not be too much on them.
What do you make of the view that there is a bit of a concern that when people are MPs, are also ministers of state, often they don't have enough time to do either of the jobs, and that perhaps we have to rethink that? What do you think of that as a member of parliament?
Today, Honorable Ajete even made an interesting point in one of the papers, saying that the executive have
too much power.
Too much power.
That's the presidency. Is that what it means?
Yes. I would suggest, or what my personal opinion is that Parliament should be an independent body as well as the executive.
But that's the whole purpose. I mean, separation of powers.
Yes, separation of powers, my brother, personal opinion is that sometimes should be an independent the government wants to push her agenda, and she needs the party or her MPs, to do whatever they expect. You might not agree with them, but because it's coming from the presidency and it's the agenda of the government, you have to do it.
Why do you have to do it? That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you stand up to them, they think you are not for the party. Sometimes you are in parliament and you see that what the opposition is saying is right. But because it's your party's agenda, they whip all of us to go and vote. So sometimes, if you are not strong enough, you might vote without thinking, because that is the agenda.
But you don't have a choice anyway. I mean, you just said that, you don't have to think. You have to do it because they ask you to do it.
Well, but you should ask yourself, what you are being asked to do, is it the right thing?
But does that happen? That's my question. Do you find in Parliament MPs actually ruling government party, MPs opposing something? Does that happen?
It does happen. I've done that a couple of times. My honorable friend from Ekuonaba Brakwa, he's been called all sorts of names.
But you vote in the end, did you?
When we get,
then you vote with them.
Well,
right?
that is when they do the amendments to suit what we expect. Then we vote. We've been critical of whatever they've done a couple of times, and they withdrew it, came back with the amendments.
So members of parliament, really, I just want to get to the bottom of something here. I mean, why are you even concerned about it? After all, your constituents put you there. They are the only ones who can remove you.
Yeah, you see, although your constituency put you there, you went there in the name of a political party.
Correct.
And every political party has a vision, the way they want to take the country, the level they want to take the country to. So you should fall within that vision. So anytime a government comes up with a proposal or a policy, as a member of parliament of the majority or the government in power, you obviously have to support it. But sometimes you ask a question, do you think we need to do this or not? That is where the problem starts. So I am of the opinion that if parliament is totally independent, you don't choose ministers from parliament, and you choose ministers from outside, they become the executive. Then you have parliament. Nigeria practices the same thing. They have Senate and the House. No member of the Senate is a minister. They do that, and it gives parliament power to oppose whatever the government is doing and they feel is wrong.
I don't quite understand that. Very interesting. So what you're suggesting is that when the parliamentarian is a minister, he tends to be more interested in his ministerial role. Is that
not that he tends to be more interested in his ministerial role, but his hands are tied.
In what sense?
In the sense that he's a parliamentarian and he's a minister. He is representing a particular ministry, and for that matter, the government or the executive. He has to push the agenda of the government solely for that ministry. And at the same time, he's a parliamentarian. But whatever he might be pushing out there, parliament do not agree with it. But because he's a parliamentarian and at the same time a minister, of course, everybody, if you were in that position, you choose to be a minister.
So you think
they push the agenda of the ministry more than the parliamentary activities.
And then there's also the issue of time, isn't there? I mean, if you are busy always out in the constituency, it can affect the work at the ministry. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. But again, this side of the world where, we are still not out there, meaning our democracy is now growing. You need the ministers, some of them to come from parliament too, because they know the problems parliamentarians are facing. At the same time, because they are colleagues, they are able to lobby their colleague parliamentarians to push the agenda through.
The constitution wants 2/3 of the ministers to come from parliament.
Right.
You think it should be maybe 1/3?
It should. I don't even think it should be 1/3. It should be changed completely, so that parliamentarians will be parliamentarians. They are of themselves. They are not divided in terms of decision because he's a minister and at the same time a parliamentarian. Do I have to vote for parliament or do I have to push my ministry's agenda?
Okay, let's talk about something else now. Let's talk about your role as an entrepreneur. Okay, how do you combine that? I mean, you're a businessman. I believe you have interest in television and radio, media, in agriculture, and so on. And then you are an MP. How do you manage it?
It's very tough. Sometimes even when I came here, the time was being, I wouldn't call it wasted. Whilst they were fixing the equipment, I was even dozing because I don't sleep. You combine politics with business, and it's very tough. But I sleep about 4 hours. Deep sleep 4. The rest, I start thinking either business or politics. What I'm going to do for my
Your constituents are happy with you.
Oh yes.
What do you do for them? Is this common fund money? When you do things for them, where does the funding come from for MPs? Is it to do stuff for them?
The MPs, we have 5% of the common fund for our district assembly for development.
So that's what you've been using?
Yeah, thanks be to God, now it's been increased to 7.5. But it's so funny, what I am doing in my constituency, you cannot use the common fund to do that.
Why not?
Yeah, because common fund, you make 40 million every quarter, which means in a year it's 160 million. If you build 3 classrooms, it's more than 160 million. Minimum 300 million for 3 classrooms. And office, then I think urinal, will cost you 300 million. But I do that for my people because I promised them that, look, I'm going to make a change in this constituency. I have chosen education because I feel if I'm able to educate few, a day will come that they will also reciprocate whatever I have done to others, and they will increase the numbers.
Asin North, that's your MP for Asin North.
Right.
So you're saying you spend your personal resources as MP in developing infrastructure?
Yes.
Is that the case?
Yes.
Such as what?
I've built not less than 17, 18 schools with my own money. As I speak, what I have tackled in my constituency, the schools that I've tackled, is 6 billion.
6 billion?
6 billion. I have about 9 contractors that are doing these jobs. Wherever I go, I promise that I'm going to give you 3 classrooms, 6 classrooms.
Why do you spend your money doing that?
My brother, the question is, how long are we going to live on earth to see others suffer? My children, most of them were born in America. Those who were not even born there have green cards. The system takes care of them. Okay, if I'm not in a position to do it. The mere fact that the Americans, education, they'll go to school free until college, even college, at the age of 21, they are entitled to grants, TAP, Pell, and all those things. But when you come to this side of the world, you see that in Ghana, where I come from, and for that matter, Asin North, a lot of people cannot afford even to take care of their children. And I decided to go into education because when we were growing up, I had about 4 classmates who were very brilliant. But now, one, as I speak, is in the university. Look at how long it has taken him to get there. One of the guys is the Ofedunkwa. I don't want to mention what he does.
No, it's fine. You mean they haven't been able to do much? That's
right, exactly. Yeah. And these are brains that we have wasted in the system. So I decided to get the brilliant boys and girls and give them scholarships.
Spend your money doing that?
Right. At least I have about 68 of them that I gave scholarship. And 21 are in the universities now.
You've got the money, so you can do it.
Yeah, not that I have the money. We have a lot of people in this country that have a lot of money, more than myself. But maybe it's not their priority.
But you have resources yourself.
Yeah, I have resources. Everything that I'm doing. I have a lot of businesses in this country, but people don't know because I'm a layback kind of guy. If not politics, nobody would even have known me. You see, but because
different businesses doing what you do agriculture. What do you do? I'm curious.
Yeah, I have farms. I have, if you care to know, I'll be honest with you. Even this Bui Dam, my company brought it.
The Bui Dam?
Of course. I'm not bragging. People don't know. But before the government got in 2002, we were only 2 people, myself and Mr. Opombio, who went to the Ministry of Energy and said, look, we want one big project. And they felt we were joking. 20 million, 60 million, 80 million. When it got to Bui, it was 450 million. So yes, we're going to tackle this. So we went to China looking for partners. It got to a point that we convinced them, but they were not sure. They were skeptical because how can you give $600 million to 2 black guys? So they needed government guarantee. So when their premier was coming here, we spoke to President that, look, this is what we have done so far with energy, but they don't trust us. The Chinese government doesn't trust us. So please, when the premier comes, tell him that, yes, you are in support of this project and take over. And President did just that. So he was able to convince the premier and they took the project up. So we have $622 million. I take credit, but I keep, I don't want even people to know. If you had no question, I wouldn't tell you.
But you are known also, people can be also quite critical of you. You speak quite a bit on radio and so on. And in this country, you said to me that when we were earlier speaking that they almost suggest that when you have money, you're up to some mischief. Where's your money from?
Yeah, yeah, I know, it's very interesting. I personally believe that people should begin to appreciate individuals who are making it in life. Instead of suspecting of evil deeds or dubious means to...
Like drug dealing and all that.
Like
those
dealing.
Suggestions.
So the guy is a tick drug dealer. I wonder why they think every successful person in this country is dealing in drugs. Does it mean there are no genuine business in this country that an individual can do? Does it mean an individual in this country cannot make money without drugs? Is that what they're telling us? But you see, I laugh at them because I personally believe that the time that you are wasting to think about Ken Agyapong doing drugs, you could have used the same time to ask, how am I going to make it in life? You see, it's more productive than thinking negatively about Ken Agyapong, because I sleep 4 hours and the rest, you see me, I'm only thinking.
They don't see that, you mean people don't see that?
Yeah, they don't see that. But before I come out there to do a project, look, even the government itself, the Millennium Challenge account was big. But trust me, you might think I'm bragging. But I take credit for going to China several times to get this deal through.
Which is bigger, it's bigger.
Yes, of course, it's bigger than it. So who says that, if you're a Ghanaian, you can't dream big, you can't think big, you can't do things big? We can. We are human beings. So I put all these negative thoughts behind me and move forward, because you are wasting your time thinking about Ken. Okay? But at the same time, if you make it known to me, I'll give it to you well.
When you say give it to you well, that's it. You also are recognized for speaking. Sometimes you shout at people and blast them when you speak on the radio.
Well, I reciprocate action.
Meaning what? When people are harsh, you return the harshness.
Yes. You see, I'm going to give you this quotation. Read Proverbs 26. Okay? Proverbs chapter 26.
Hey, what does it say?
And there you go. It says, I will give you literal meaning. If an individual behaves like a fool and you don't let him know that he's a fool, he will think he's very wise and continue to do the same thing, stupid things or foolish things. So sometimes you have to reciprocate action by going down to his level to know that he's a fool. Then he sits up that, okay, if I tell Mr. David that he's a fool, you also tell me I'm a fool. Okay?
Does that happen? Do you have examples of that?
Of course. A lot of things. I don't want to mention
where people
names.
tell you things and you respond like
that. Yes. I don't want to mention names, but that is why you said people think there's enough. Yeah, but, I have a couple of examples to keep, but I don't want to mention
you don't have to mention the name, but example of the subject. What do you mean by if somebody... What you are saying is that, because I recall once that somebody called in on the radio and commented about something, and you weren't happy with it.
Yeah, what is that?
And you were harsh back, I believe, to the person.
What is
Was it the subject of somebody suggesting that you had said something and you returned the comment?
Well, if you can be specific, because it has happened a couple of times.
It happened a couple of times. That's it.
If you tell me, I'll give you one example.
Yes.
With no malice. You see, Honorable Esidun Ketia, I like him, I respect him. He's a very good friend until the incident that happened at Adom FM. I respected him. I'm giving you an example.
Please.
I was with him at the studio. When he was there before me, when I entered, I said, senior, because of you today, I can't fire. I was going to respond harshly to Mr. Ruju Metronunu for insulting President Kufuor. But all the same, I still have to defend. So I started talking, and I was also harsh. The same tone that Rojo used on President insulting him here and there, I reciprocated the same action. I never insulted Honorable Esidun Ketia. But what he said was that, in our camp proverb, that if you are taking your shower or bath and you leave your clothes outside, okay, and they come to tell you that a madman has come for your clothes, You don't come out of the bathroom naked to chase
The madman.
the madman
For your clothes.
for your clothes. So he's not going to do the program. Literally. He was saying that I'm a madman. And then I told him, well, you don't. You see, you are out there creating impression that I'm a madman. But when you are in dire need of help, you will come to a madman. You took money from me to go and pay your electricity bill. So give it back to me. I will prove to you that I'm a madman. I need my money. Case closed. But Ghanaians do not understand. They become stereotyped and they don't even read between the lines and the implications of that statement. But because I insisted that the guy should give me back his money, Agyapong is a bad guy. But, you know, what he said was serious. If he said Agyapong is a madman,
What does he mean?
and I know that when you wanted to pay your electricity bill, you came to me, you borrowed the money. It wasn't a gift. You borrowed the money. And I lent you that money, $200. You never paid.
So you reveal that to punish
yes.
him.
Of course. Not to punish him,
But to expose him.
to let him know who he is. Case closed.
Let's talk about Ghana, sir, and some of the challenges of development. What, to your mind, are some of the fundamental things, you know, impeding our progress?
First of all, I think as individuals and citizens of this country, I believe every individual should dream big, think big, and do things big. Okay, the problem with Ghanaian entrepreneurs and Ghanaians for that matter is mediocrity. We think so small. We think, you know, everything is impossible. We can do it. You see, when you are in a country and you have people who do not believe in themselves, then you have a problem. So this is the first problem we are facing in this country. For us to take this country economically to a different level, we need to encourage Ghanaians to be themselves. Let them think that sky is the limit. I mean, come on, don't think that I can make it. You know, I have a younger brother. I keep telling him, oh, if it's $30 million, I can raise the funds by syndicating, you know, to get these funds to do it. Then he opens his mouth. I said, listen, your beginning is even better than mine. I was in the village. You were in Kumasi, straight from Opokuwari to St. John's University. So come on, be yourself. If Kwame Agyapong from Asin says that he can syndicate $30 million to do a project, why can't you do it? You should have confidence. You see, we have a lot of products in this country that if we encourage them, there will be somebody. But a system where, you know, let me give you a typical example. I have one of my daughters who was in Montessori at North Jolo here. I took her to US. They tested her and they just promoted this girl. When she went to the new class, she was still first. But the comment they made was that Geraldine is a very brilliant girl, but too quiet. Can you encourage her to open up? But you see, in Ghana here, they would have written, Geraldine is a brilliant girl and respectful.
That's the point. Your point. I see.
See,
Yeah.
you get my point.
Yeah.
Instead of encouraging them to be forward, see things, you know, differently, they'll say, oh, you know, they try to coil them like snails. They go into their shells. And our society think people like that are the good ones. Americans, they indoctrinate them. An American probably will not even travel from New Jersey to New York City or Washington, D.C. But he feels America is the greatest country in the world. Ghanaians, we don't even have confidence in our own people. We don't even have confidence in our own products. When they see Ghana-made things, they don't want to buy.
Why? Why do you think that is the case, Ken?
Yeah, there are two things. Ghanaian entrepreneurs, some of them are also, I don't know how to put it. You know, they do shoddy jobs.
Yeah.
I have 3 boo-boos that my wife bought for me. I went to Nigeria. Somebody was commending me, oh, this is a linen. You know, they put on different things. But the linen, they were admiring it. Meanwhile, in my pocket, my brother, it was a big hole. I had a big hole in there because they did not, you know, knit it well or sew it well. You see, when you do this, you deter your own people from buying from you. So I believe in, instead of mass production, you come out with quality products. That will build confidence in the consumers. And as time goes on, you increase your production. Okay, but Ghanaians, they want to make money today. And that's it. So they don't care the products that they are giving you. Typical example is, those traders going to China. My brother, I've been to China a couple of times. They have quality things there. But because they want to maximize profit, they come up with cheap products. You buy a spoon today. When the spoon is in your mouth, it breaks. Very cheap. You see, so when you have citizens thinking this way, then my brother, we have a problem. So I think for us to move this country, first of all, the system has been such that we have been made to believe that whatever we want to do on earth here, before we die, the assistance should come from government. We have to do away with that.
But we need support from foreign countries
right.
as well.
You see, it's a shame that as a nation, anytime we're going to do our budget, we have to rely on pledges from other countries before we move on. But if a whole government is asking for pledges from donor countries, how are you going to run your own economy? Because they might disappoint you somewhere along the lines. They are also basing their pledges on their budget and whatever taxes they're going to get over there. So I think if we really want to move this country, we have to take our destiny into our own hands.
We don't have the resources.
Yeah, we don't have the resources, but we got to start somewhere. We have resources in this country. We have resources in this country. Look, when we are moving, this morning I went to Pram Pram. I saw this vast land there. Guys are doing pepper and tomatoes. Ripe pepper, red, but they just left it. So I was asking the guy why. They don't want it or what? If I were them, I would be there every day to make sure, even when it's not ripe and I think I can put it on the market, I'll just take it up.
What do you think of the oil discovery? Is this perhaps going to provide us with some resources as a country?
Oil discovery, my brother, if it's going to be like the gold we have in this country, then I think it's a mixed blessing.
What is that supposed to mean?
A mixed blessing in the sense that then we are even better off not even discovering this oil.
How can you say that?
Yeah, I'm saying that because I want the government to negotiate well. We have gold in this country. Now, we've sold everything to foreigners. I want the government to come. I challenge my own government. Let them come out and tell us openly if we are benefiting from gold in this country. And I will challenge them anytime, any day, that we are not benefiting from gold in this country. Look at the rate at which they are degrading our lands in this country. And Parliament, I should be ashamed of myself that I also voted 3%. 3%.
That's the royalty. You're referring to the royalty.
Yeah, 3% to government. I am ashamed of myself, but I'm confident talking about it because I criticized it. How can the whole 230 parliamentarians will sit there and approve that whatever Newmont is going to do in this country, Ghana government is going to make 3%?
Is that the case?
My brother. And last year, they made about $340 million, and about 9.2, 9.3 came to government. Do you think we need that in this country? Go and see what they are doing over there. The rate at which they are degrading our land for 9%.
But they say you don't have the equipment, you don't have the capital. What are you going to do?
If you don't have the equipment and you don't have the capital, you still have the natural resources that they need. So you have to bargain well. You see, my leaders or some ministers who come with another school of thought and tell you that, look, we are making, they pay taxes, this and that, corporate tax. If I declare that I made 20 million, then you're going to tax me on it. If I come and tell you 1 million, that's what you're going to tax me on it.
Or you can say you didn't make any money at all.
I didn't make money at all. So what are you telling me? Are you quantifying that? So now, I am saying the oil is a mixed blessing in the sense that I want my government to go out there and negotiate well. Although they are bringing the equipment, heavy-duty equipment that are expensive, no doubt about it. But they should also bargain. At least 35, 65. 35, 65 should not include taxes, corporate taxes. Our share. If they don't want it, they should leave it. At least we've been able to survive to date.
And then you'll sit on it.
Yeah, we sit on it. Yeah, but what difference does it make if we have gold here and we don't even have gold refinery here? We don't have diamond, nothing. So does it make a difference to you? When you go to South Africa, you see difference with their gold, what they've done. What have we done? They just took everything away. So all I'm saying is we have to negotiate well. I am praying. Anytime I see the director of petrol, I tell him, my brother, I'm praying for you. We need more oil. It will solve our problem. But it will solve our problem if and only if we bargain well for higher percentage.
A big part of this country's income comes from the gold mines that are here. As we said.
The gold mining that you are talking of, we are talking of the net. What comes to government? Okay? I'll tell you. I'm not exaggerating. Go and call all the Ghanaian executives in Anglo Gold and see. Ask them. You are in the media. You have the means to cross-check. Go and check their positions now. So if you are going to negotiate and you tell me that they are going to create jobs for us, they bring expatriates. And the few expatriates, their income or salary is more than the total Ghanaian workers every month.
You think that's wrong?
It's wrong. It's wrong. That is why we are always at the mercy of foreigners to develop our place. I am not against foreigners coming in. We cannot develop everything on our own because our capital base is small. But at the same time, I am advising that we have to negotiate well. Wherever we go, look, if you go to Malaysia, if you go to Singapore, and they are arguing in terms of business.
So why?
You see that it's Malaysia first, and whoever is coming second.
So it's our people then.
Right.
It boils down to our people.
Yes.
We just don't do ourselves a good enough deal.
Exactly. And we have to be bold and go out there and negotiate well. At the same time, our attitude towards work is so appalling that we need to change.
You mean Ghanaian attitude?
Yes, Ghanaian attitude. It's so appalling when it comes to work. You see, Ghanaians are considered hardworking when they go outside the country. You know why? Because the system works. If David is late, he's fired. No excuse. And he knows that his grandmother is not going to feed him or her. The aunt will not. The mother will not. Even his or her brothers will not even do that for him or her.
So these are the things that you say make us think.
Self-discipline, the awareness. You see women running to go and catch the train because they don't want to be late. When they go to work in US, you see them working hard. But when they come here, they behave, I don't know how to put it. A lot of our workers are so lazy, walking about, talking. I was washing plates in Germany, and my owner, anytime he sees you standing there, it means you have no job. You either have to go to the keller, the basement, to clean even the bottles of the wine.
You have to be working all the time.
Right. If not, your services is not needed, and therefore you have to go home.
Here, that's obviously not the case.
No. Anytime you talk about firing, they think you're a mean person.
To sack people.
Yeah, sack them.
Africans don't want to be sacked. You're a wicked man if you sack people.
But we have to be bold and sack people.
It's a mentality, isn't it, then?
Yeah, but we need to talk about it. Yeah. We need to change it. We can only change it when we talk about it. A lot of politicians are afraid to talk about it. But we need to talk about it. Let the people know when you're at fault, you're at fault. Go home. Let another person. You see, if I fire David today, the gentleman sitting here coming to take over your position will question, why was David fired? If he gets the reason for David being fired, he sits up by correcting himself that if I also repeat the same mistake, I'll be fired. And therefore, he will make sure he doesn't repeat the same thing. That moves the company up.
Would you describe Ghanaians as timid?
Naturally, we are timid because we are not bold to take decisions, big decisions, okay? You come to parliament, sometimes these days I don't even talk. I'll only be running around, because you see a whole parliamentarian, 230 parliamentarians, we are approving a loan of $5 million. That's a big insult. $5 million? Please. I mean, you go to meetings in US, China, and people talk big. One day, a short guy in Hong Kong, he just looked at us and said, listen, we want to build Ghana like we built Dubai. I didn't even know that Dubai today, it was China through Hong Kong. Said they had an agreement with Dubai for 50 years. If they produce this bottle of water, $1, in 50 years, it will still be $1. They wanted to do that here. And you know what a guy told us? Ken, I hear you're a big guy, but look, we are not talking about your 10, 50 containers. Right there, he disrespected us.
It means too small.
Yeah, it's okay. We are not talking about 10, 50 containers that the Africans come here. We're talking of building the whole city, bringing products there. Then you distribute it through the whole Africa. You see, a short guy thinking big and dissing me that, we're not talking about 50 containers. And I admire the guy. I look at his office and the ambience, and I couldn't even respond because the office speaks it for itself. That yes, the guy deserves whatever.
You are impatient for Ghana, you.
I am not impatient for Ghana. I want us to move. We take consolation in the fact that we are just 50 years. 50 years, my brother. A lot of people were born and they did not even live to see the 50 years. So don't take consolation in the fact that we are only 50 years. The word only I don't want to hear. Compare yourself to Malaysia. Compare yourself to India. If you go to India, it's not an extraordinary place. But you see, this small office, you see an Indian creating his own thing and selling it. I have a rice mill in my hometown. And a guy just built it at his backyard. Case closed. Our educational system is also very, very appalling. We see technical guys coming out there and they can't produce anything. Creativity. My brother, we need to think big in this country.
What do you think of that chap talking about people building stuff? Apostle Kojo Safo, for example.
I haven't seen him personally, but I admire him. Just last week, I saw his car in Kumasi.
His
and I
car,
said,
really?
Yeah, and I said, Jesus Christ. MPP, we don't know what we
You
do.
saw it yourself?
I saw it myself.
And
at
it looks
Kumasi,
like a real car.
A real car. The only thing I saw different is the panel, the finishing. But if we encourage a man like that, my brother, you just slap high tariffs on imported vehicles, encourage this man. If I were President Kufuor, all the venture capital fund, I'll give it to this man.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, because look, if a man has been able to come out with a vehicle like that,
But nobody takes him seriously.
Yeah, so we should all be guilty of ourselves. That's what I'm saying.
But
that
why don't you take him? Why do you think we don't take him seriously? Why do you think we don't take this guy seriously? Because maybe it's really nothing.
No, you see, I have earlier mentioned to you that we as citizens or Ghanaians don't even have confidence in ourselves.
So
the mere fact that David is doing this is inferior. And case closed. It's branded inferior, and nobody wants to know.
So you think he suffers from that's why they don't take it?
Yes, of course. So it boils down to confidence, self-confidence, that we are human beings just like any other citizen of the world. And whatever Americans has done with a question of time, we can also do the same thing. We only need to be determined and stay focused that this is the way we want to move this country. I mean, you see somebody building 2-3 bedrooms. Well, that's his level, okay. But listen, we need dreamers. We need dreamers in this country that we're going to take. I want one of these candidates to come and convince me. All these presidential candidates, I want one who can convince me.
Convince you about what?
I mean, a man who can take this level after President Kufuor's stability in terms of economics and political. He's done very well. We want a step further. Entrepreneurs, a government that will build entrepreneurs that can create jobs for people in this country.
But they say it all the time.
Oh, my brother, if you are coming to me, I'll just size you. That are you just coming to convince me for today, and when you win, that's it? We need people who are creative, people who dream big, people who have vision. Okay? Not a vision that, we've been able to produce 2 bottles of water and it's enough. We should be able to produce thousands.
And you have concerns also about people opposing people when in a different political group. I mean, you would support people in a different party in business? Would you really put your money where your mouth is?
At the end of the day, it's Ghana first. Ghana. If a Ghanaian is doing it, I don't know Apostle Kojo Safo's political background. It is not important. So long as it's a Ghanaian. my business, I have NDC workers there. But they are good at what they do. So does it mean I should leave them out? It's the political leaders or we the politicians that have created this scenario where you don't belong here, then you are an enemy and all those things.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. Then also, the businessmen themselves. You see, sometimes it hurts when you promote him to a level, then he uses his resources against you. You see. So we should tackle this critically, assess it well, and see we have a balanced situation where, look, we are not going to intimidate you. Do your business as a Ghanaian. What matters is there is high rate of unemployment in this country. An NDC man has created a job and therefore he has reduced the unemployment rate. That is what I want to hear. I don't want any political sabotage, all those things going on. No. The person is a Ghanaian, he's a Ghanaian. That's the only way we can move this country. Politics is secondary. So I personally believe that anybody who exhibits that talent and ability, just like Apostle Safo has done, whether you are NDC or MPP or CPP or PMP or PNDC, whatever, let's help.
Talk about that. Is that why you were recently recorded as having complained about the fact that there were efforts to have the ex-president face court outside this country, and you were critical of that?
Yeah, I was critical about it because if you cannot try ex-president here, why would you even give chance to America to try him? I mean, we are a sovereign country. What is wrong? We should identify it. This is wrong. And we take measures to correct it. But if, I don't know if that is true, but we shouldn't hide behind anybody. We're going to try ex-president Rawlings in America. What do you gain out of it? I'm against these kind of things. If it's Ghana and you feel you have enough evidence against him, fine. But why would you take him to America? It means you don't have confidence in your own system. That's why I was critical about the whole thing. I believe as Ghanaians, human beings as we are, we can take our own decisions. And if we make mistakes somewhere along the line, be it, we accept, apologize, and move on. But if you are going to hide behind this, you stop this, my brother. I sit here as a parliamentarian. I get to any point of entry, and they don't even respect me. Because one, I'm black. Because two, you're coming from a third world country. And we don't find anything wrong with it. Then you allow our ex-president to be tried in America. That's a pure disrespect. That is why I kicked against it. Because I know what I go through. You see, young custom officers that when they are in this country, you can create jobs for them. But because you are black, they ask silly questions like, why have you been traveling too much? They ask me, oh, you've been to Thailand? I say, yes, of course, I've been to Thailand. What is wrong with it? I went with government delegation for starch. Are we going to buy drugs there or what? You see, when we get to our own country, then we pump up foreigners. Our system is such that the law is in favor of foreigners more than citizens.
You really think so?
I believe so, my brother. I believe so. And my chest is out to defend it anyway. They call it, that silly Ghanaian hospitality. Please, excuse my language, but that's the right way to use. Ghanaian hospitality against its own citizens. When we are going, the banking facilities, everything. If you are going for a loan, a white man comes there, they kiss it. They expedite it, he gets it. A Ghanaian goes there, go and bring this, go and bring that. Frustration. How can we move a country like that if we don't build our own citizens? So I got a big problem. And I feel we should talk about it, address issues, and Ghanaians should believe in themselves that they can also make it in life. Nothing is impossible. And look, if God grants me life to 70, I'll do wonders in this country. If there's economic stability and political stability, with no vengeance, nothing, let's move on. You'll see the number of employment I'll create in this country. If I sleep 1 a.m., by 4 I'm up. I'm planning. When I'm on my treadmill, that's where I get ideas from. What I'm going to do. Listen, we need a lot of people to think like that. They shouldn't be ashamed of themselves. Don't be afraid to have money. Come on, go out there, do more. Don't be content with the little you have. You know, I have Nigerian friends in ECOWAS Parliament. Jesus Christ. When these guys are talking to you, keep quiet. Because they have confidence and they know they can make it. You go to individual MPs' homes. Then you ask yourself, are you a member of parliament in your country? Where, you know, they have this place. Where I've never lived there anyway, but I have colleagues that have visited. Sakumo. You go there, a whole MP will go and carry water from ground floor to the top floor. How do you expect such a parliamentarian even to have confidence to take a decision in parliament? Please. I mean, we need to change all these things. When they are buying a car, a loan of $30,000, they are talking about it. A loan. My brother, we sit here, we are paying for our cars. Other directors of companies, government institutions are using vehicles free. They give them petrol coupons. But parliamentarians, we do everything on our own. Then with that meager salary. And they are talking about it. At the same time, we see loans coming. You approve this. It goes here. It goes there. And you sit there. So we need to talk about a lot of things. If we really want to move this country, I want people who dream. 3 things that we have to keep. We need dreamers. We need thinkers. And we need doers. These 3 things.
No cross sama me kaenti. No cross sama me kaenti. No cross sama me kaenti. Madani mutafuana. Amu masikani bra. Eba ma bravo mu. Namu preni amu also. If you say Radina Kazaka ase. Orinya yani. Nesu ori bayeda. Etinu brasa mami kayeti. Madane mutamfuana. Mamu masikani bra. Mama bravo. Amu preni amu also. If you say Radina Kazaka ase. Orinya yani. Nesu ori bayeda. Etinu brasa mami kayeti. Madane mutamfuana. Mamu masikani bra. Mama bravo. Amu preni amu also. If you say Radina Kazaka ase. Orinya yani. Nesu ori bayeda. Etinu brasa mami kayeti. Madane mutamfuana. No cross mami kayeti. No cross mami kayeti. No cross mami kayeti. Madane mutamfuana. Amu masikani bra. Eba ma bravo mu. Namu preni amu also. If you say Radina Kazaka ase. Orinya yani. Nesu ori bayeda. Etinu brasa mami kayeti. Madane mutamfuana. Mamu masikani bra. Mama bravo. Amu preni amu also. If you say Radina Kazaka ase. Orinya yani. Nesu ori bayeda. Etinu brasa mami kayeti. Madane mutamfuana. Mamu masikani